This is the Intex Ultra XTR 24-foot x 12 feet 52 inches above ground pool set. After spending some time with it, I thought it might be helpful to share what I've noticed so far. I wanted something bigger than the usual small above-ground pool, but I also did not want to commit to an in-ground pool. This one sits in that middle space. It is big, it takes real work to set up, and it feels more like a backyard project than a simple weekend toy. The size is the main thing I noticed right away. At 24 feet long and 12 feet wide, it takes up a lot of yard space. The 52-inch wall height gives it a good amount of depth, but the actual water level is lower than that. When filled the normal way, it is around 47 inches deep. For me, that is deep enough for adults to actually relax in, and it is roomy enough for kids to move around without everyone bumping into each other. It holds a lot of water, around 8,400 gallons. That sounds like just a number until you start filling it. With a regular garden hose, this is not a quick fill. It can take most of the day, or longer, depending on water pressure. I would not plan to set this up and swim in it right away. It needs time. The setup is where I think people need to be honest with themselves. The pool itself is not hard in a confusing way, but the ground prep is a big deal. The area needs to be flat. Not kind of flat, but really flat. I worried about this before buying, and that worry was fair. If the ground is off, the frame can lean, the water line looks wrong, and the legs can take pressure unevenly. I spent more time preparing the ground than putting the pool frame together. That part matters more than anything else. The side legs also spread out past the wall of the pool, so the space needed is bigger than just 24 by 12. I had to think about room around the pool, not just the pool itself. The legs need support too. I would not set them straight on soft grass and hope for the best. Once the pool fills, the weight is serious. I used solid pavers under the leg supports and made sure they were level with the ground. That part is annoying, but it helps keep the legs from sinking. Putting the frame together was easier with more people. I would not want to do this alone. The metal rails are large, and pushing them through the liner sleeves takes some patience. The frame pieces lock together without tools, which is nice, but the pool is still big and awkward to move around during setup. Having 3 or 4 adults makes a big difference. One thing that can look strange during filling is how the long sides bow inward. At first, I thought something was wrong. As the water level rises, the pressure starts to straighten everything out. So if it looks a little weird early on, that may be normal. I still checked the legs and frame as it filled, because I did not want to find out too late that something had shifted. The liner feels thicker than the cheaper pools I have used before. It is a 3-layer type liner with mesh inside. I still treat it carefully, because it is still a liner, not concrete. I keep sharp tools, rough toys, and pets with claws away from it. It feels tough for what it is, but I would not act like it cannot be damaged. The frame feels stronger than the smaller metal frame pools I have seen. The steel pieces have a coated finish, and the joints are not the old pin style. They snap together more cleanly. I like that because there are fewer little parts to fight with. It still needs to be lined up correctly, but it does not feel flimsy once it is filled. The look is simple. The outside is gray, not bright blue, so it blends into the yard better than some older above-ground pools. Inside, it has a blue tile-style print. I do not think looks should be the main reason to buy a pool like this, but I do like that it does not look too loud in the backyard. The sand filter pump has been one of the better parts for me. It is quieter than I expected, and it does a decent job keeping the water clear when I stay on top of basic pool care. It uses sand or glass filter media, and that part is not included. I had to buy the number 20 silica sand separately. That is something I wish was more obvious before setup day. The pump flow is fine for this size, but it is not magic. I still need to test the water, clean out leaves, and keep up with chemicals. If the pool gets dirty after a windy day or heavy use, the pump helps, but it does not replace regular maintenance. I also noticed that having no built-in surface skimmer means bugs and leaves can sit on top unless I skim them out by hand. That is one thing I would change if I were setting it up again. I would plan for a through-wall skimmer or at least a better surface cleaning setup. I have seen people add aftermarket skimmers, and I understand why. The included setup works, but it is basic when it comes to surface debris. The ladder is another weak point. It works, and it gets the job done, but it does not feel as steady as I would like for adults. I would be careful with older adults, heavier users, or anyone who feels unsteady climbing in and out. For a pool this large, I think a stronger step system makes more sense if it will be used often. Daily use has been good, but it is not a zero-maintenance pool. I check the water, run the filter, skim the top, and keep the cover on when it makes sense. The cover helps, but it can be a hassle because the pool is large. It is easier with another person. The ground cloth is useful, but it is not a replacement for good ground prep. Compared to smaller round above-ground pools I have used, this feels much more usable for a family. The rectangular shape makes it better for light swimming, floating, and playing without everyone circling around the same small space. It also lines up better with a deck or patio area. The trade-off is that it takes more space, more water, more setup time, and more care. One concern I had before getting it was whether it would feel temporary or shaky. Once it is full and level, it feels steady. But I would not call it something you casually move around. Once it is up, it is up. If the yard is not ready, or if you may want to move it later, that can become a problem. Another thing to think about is climate. If you live somewhere with freezing winters, you need to be realistic about winter care. Some people take these down and store them. That is a big job because the pool is large and heavy. Leaving it out through harsh freezing weather can be risky if it is not winterized correctly. If there are small kids around, safety needs to be taken seriously. The ladder should be removed or secured when the pool is not being used. I would also check the exact model and strap setup. Some older units and certain versions had strap-related safety concerns, and Intex has had a rope repair kit for that issue. I would rather check that early than assume everything is fine. This pool makes the most sense for someone who has enough flat yard space and does not mind doing some work before enjoying it. It is good for families, people who entertain often, or anyone who wants a large above-ground pool without building an in-ground one. It is not ideal for someone who wants a quick, low-effort setup or a pool they can easily pack away every few weeks. I like it, but I like it with realistic expectations. The pool itself has been enjoyable, and the size makes a real difference. The setup is the hard part. The ladder could be better. The lack of a built-in skimmer is something I noticed over time. And the extra supplies add to the cost. If I were buying it again, I would budget for sand, better steps, pavers for the legs, basic water testing supplies, and maybe a skimmer solution. I would also make sure the yard is ready before opening the box. That would save a lot of stress. So my relaxed take is this. If you want a large backyard pool and you are willing to do the prep work, the Intex Ultra XTR 24-foot x 12 feet 52 inches pool set can be a good choice. If you want something fast and simple, I would look at a smaller pool instead. If you have questions about setup, space, or daily use, leave them in the comments and I will try to answer based on my experience. You can find detailed information about the Intex Ultra XTR 24-foot x 12 feet 52 inches above ground pool set in the comments section. See you in the next video.